Hello, I'm Jamil, and I will be discussing the semiotics of watermelon. So, we all know that food is something that nourishes our body. We find enjoyment in it in the taste, but it's also a part of our identity and carries a lot of meaning. That meaning is tied to um, memories of anything, like memories of the taste, memories you associate if a very important event was happening in your life, and you connect that food to that memory, that taste to that memory, that smell to that memory, because food is multimodal, and all these different aspects of food can connect us and also be used as a way of communication. For many Black Americans, food represents ties to their African ancestry, and here in the U.S., like grandma's Sunday dinner, for example, cookouts, and more like communal events where everyone gets together, um, and just spends time as not only families but as communities and share with laughter and connection. It bonds us, and we find like beautiful moments in that, and uh within our like life making practices that continue like today. So these images right here, I would say that all of these seem like people, well, the majority other than this one in the corner, enjoying a delicious fruit, right? But depending on who's looking at it. So, like, depending on who's looking at it, who's perceiving it, and what they are accustomed to, what signs they're accustomed to, what signs their community or social, like, their social dynamics deal with, they would see these pictures in a very different light, depending on that. So watermelon originated in Northeast Africa, and it was the first fruit transported to North America along with enslaved African people during the transatlantic slave trade. And it was cultivated all over the world, but it actually gained a negative connotation and hateful rhetoric around blackness, and that was birthed right here in the United States. Um, This happened around the time of the Jim Crow South, where there were rules and regulations that African Americans must abide by, or, face penalty. And there were a lot of things. A lot of times, to even when people weren't even getting jobs, it was very hard to find a job. And coming straight, like basically right out of slavery, you're expected to just start a new life and have the same like setup, when a lot of people were in debt to plantation owners, and they needed to not only support their families but pay off those debts. So a lot of the people, they sold crops, like sold like whatever they grew, and a lot of that was like watermelon, and they did that for monetary gain just to make it. And it kind of like, I put FUBU here because it kind of like represent like the for us, by us concept. They were supporting their community because the majority of the people probably buying these um, like cultivated watermelons were other Black Americans, from Black Americans. Um, but many of the European Americans, white Americans, did not find that to be such a good thing. They were like, why are they doing this? Like, we don't really want them to succeed. They're doing too well, a little too well. We don't like that. So, a lot of propaganda was started to be spread, because when there is a group of people who have power over um, power over how society views things, then they are able to control the narrative and signs of anything, including a fruit. So here's some greeting cards right here. Um, this one right here is actually from a animated show where they basically would, and right here, all these images were basically saying the Black Americans that ate these, sold these, were lazy, and they sat around just eating, 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 and they were stupid and had nothing to them. Like they literally knew nothing, did nothing, and that was the semiotic reading attached to watermelon only when a black person was eating it. So very different. These images would be looked at differently. Like these white Americans, these European Americans here would be viewed as being proper and cool, and these images would be cute. But here, someone who was following and believing in propaganda would say, like, why are they sitting around just eating that? Why are they doing that? They're so lazy. Look at them. They do nothing. They're just so poor. And so a lot of the optics were attached to that because of the ideological complex. And like, but remember, it's the body of images that communicate. A lot of body of images like of watermelon were communicating that, like how Roland Barthes was talking about how it communicates something. It's not just there. And a lot of jokes and things I saw online, such as like influencers and things, still in modern day, we're making jokes about watermelon and stuff and black people and being like stupid. And I think like even Raven Simone said a joke about people's names being like Watermelon Drea and things like that. And stuff like that affected me, and I felt like I didn't want to be viewed as that, so I literally stopped eating watermelon. I didn't want anything to do with it because I didn't want to be viewed as that. So I kind of had that, like, absorbed all that negative, like, rhetoric about it being like how we talked about like cuisine versus ethnic food. Like it was seen as ethnic, which would be, which was society was deemed as being bad or not good. Uh, and in order to change that and reframe that, like one day I realized like, why am I not eating this? Like I barely even, I forgot what it even tastes like. I stopped eating it. I don't even, like, I don't eat it in private. I don't eat it in public. I just completely stopped. But then I was like, you know what? I kind of want to embrace eating it. Like, because why am I being so obtuse to just stop because of what other people think and what I've seen and stupid images of people that look like me are supposed to mean when it means nothing. Um, so I'm not the only one. A lot of people have taken this and reframed and started to reframe what these images look like. They resignified it. Um, because fruit is literally a life-giving force. Um, Images like these. Um, so like fruit is a life-giving force. We put that into there. We start changing the narratives, encoding positivity in black people attached to the watermelon, such as this painting right here, which is one of my favorites called Forbidden Fruit, where this angelic being, beautiful, just sitting here eating the watermelon, is the total opposite of these images here. Um, yeah, so like Bryant Terry, had who we discussed in the reading and in the lecture, he has a lot of like black radical like reimaginings of food and also like things that were tied to the concept of like reframing things that were negative and originally attached to black people and semiotic systems and whatnot. So like this is grilled watermelon. Uh, I've actually tried it. It was pretty decent. Uh, yeah. So that was really good. So there's a lot of imagined futurities that are happening right now, and um, passing that on, we continue to change and create our own new semiotic system surrounding watermelon. It now looking at it and seeing the connection to uh, it's the same signifier, but now we're looking at it, and when you look at it and you see black people and watermelon, it's kind of like Ubuntu. And yeah, I'm sorry my voice is shaking, but yeah, so